is not overambitious. We have to do it, and that's why the people of Kenya, in their own wisdom, have preserved environment in the preamble of the Constitution, in articles of the Constitution, whether we like it or not, in our own homes, in our farms, in the roads. Each and every citizen must take a responsibility of planting and trees and be part and parcel of this regeneration, reforestation, tree planting, increasing our tree cover, increasing our forest cover, and be at par with our neighbor Ethiopia. Honorable Koech, I agree with you. They cut my trees. And when I went home, the speaker, I asked, but the lines were just too thin. They should have cut only a branch. Yes. But Mr. Speaker, I think we are lacking, and we are going to introduce, if you allow me, if you approve me, I want to introduce something called urban forestry planning and urban green spaces. As we sit here, there's no even stakeholder. This Ministry of Forestry and KPLC and the people who are in the road agencies and others, there is nothing called urban forestry planning. We must plan for our green spaces in urban cities. We must plan for our trees in urban cities. Every citizen plants trees. They buy from, they have seen on the road. And then an entity called Kenya Power Lighting cannot. Speaker, I will introduce what is happening in India. In India, you can't cut a tree, even in your own homestead, before you plant another one. You need to go and get a permit. You say, I am going to cut a tree in my house, but I'm going to replace, and I have planted it, and you show evidence. Secondly, even if you have half an acre in India, you must tell the planners, the county, that 20% of my compound is for tree planting, is for forest.
Nominee.
And yes, so I think those are the...
We were with you in this parliament when we passed the Forest Act. And among the salient features was that each and every owner of land in Kenya, both private and public, must plant a minimum of 10% of that land with trees. You remember? Yes. How are you going to enforce that?
Give me the job, I will implement. It's the law. I'm not reinventing the wheel.
It's not unique to India.
Yeah.
We have it in our statutes.
Yeah. India, in fact, the speaker is 30%, but we start with 10%.
Ours was 10%.
Yes, but Honorable Koech, I want to categorically tell you that if this House approves me, the first meeting that we're going to have with the KPLC, with the road agencies, with the other people who provide social amenity facilities, that they cannot come and cut trees, anyhowly, without due regard to the law. No, on Mau Forest, so Speaker, Mau Forest, you know the history of Mau Forest. It has consumed people politically. And I don't want, because I will not be, I'm not in politics, but it has consumed many people. But I want to urge my colleague, and I'll sit with the communities around that place, because even today, the biggest problem we have is Mau Forest, where a lot of illegal grazing is taking place, and that illegal grazing is taking place by very powerful people who are in position. It's not the ordinary citizens. But still, we will use the Community Forest Association provided in law on how we manage Mau. We have fenced a greater part of Mau, and we will fence, once we get resources, the other part. Fencing is the way to go to conserve our forest, Mr. Speaker and members.
Naisula.
Thank you, Chairman. So, listening and having interacted with Honorable Duale in the National Assembly as our majority leader then, it will be important to know your position or what you think about public servants engaging in politics, whether actively, in what you say, in what you do, what is your thought on that, including public servants participating in harambees? I would like to know what your position is on that is, so that we know whether if someone wants to be a public servant, then you be a public servant. If you want to be a politician, you go back to politics. And I want to put it to you on the same breath, and even to Kenyans who are watching, that the beauty of vetting is not only to find the nominees to be suitable, but also to hold you to account in case we find you suitable and other nominees as a country and as a parliament. And on that, because you have said you have warned illegal forests, land encroachers, you will revoke titles on top state officials who are holding. It's actually now on 411. You can be sure Kenyans will hold you to account, because you know there's something that always follows you on that Al-Shabaab list to date. So just know that even this will follow you. I'm just saying that this will also follow you if we find you suitable. But on matters environment, very quickly, while sustainable logging may be healthy for forests, how will you ensure the ban on protected indigenous trees is enforced and that close monitoring is allowed during logging? Because the Kenya Forest Service only devised a plan for access to indigenous trees, and finally the staffing at KFS is not adequate. How will you ensure that you put mechanisms for using aerial, GPS, guided harvesting technologies to monitor forest resources and logging activities? Thank you.
Nominee.
Mr. Speaker, public servants, me included if I'm approved by this House, I'll take whatever it takes to promote, to expound, to communicate government agenda, government achievements to the people of Kenya, whether I'm in Samburu with Honorable Lesuda. So I serve the government of the day, and I'll speak for the government of the day. And I think that is what public servants should do. Public servants should not get involved in the local politics, in the county politics. They're supposed to be unifying factors. In fact, to the contrary. It's supposed to bring people together. For people to buy government agenda and for you to succeed in implementing government policies and achievements and programs, you need leaders across the political divide, and more so those who are elected and those who are the community leadership. The 411, the one on Al-Shabaab was fake news. But this one, please hold me accountable. I am one person who believes in accountability, Mr. Speaker. In the last 2 years, you and the clerk and the chairs of various committees will agree, I have been diligent when I'm called upon to Parliament, either to its committee, to the plenary, and the only time I refused to pick telephones, God forbid, was when during the recruitment. And that one I've given good reason. But I talk to members. And I am one person who respects the legislature, I respect the judiciary, and I respect people in public service. So I am ready. And please protect me when I cancel title deeds, when I do actions that is in the interests of the people of Kenya and the citizens and the country. Mr. Speaker, as our leader, please, if people want to bring impeachment to fight me, you must help me and protect me, if that is the case. The Harambee, Mr. Speaker, I'm a person who believes in Harambee. I think I have built more mosques and madrasas, and charity is a cardinal principle in my religion. Every year, in fact, this month is the month of Zakah in the Islamic calendar. This month I'm paying from what I have, and Honorable Junaid will agree with me. So Zakah can be Harambee. You'll see in my form that I have presented the number of madrasa of women in Garissa, close to 5,000 women in Islamic madrasa, courtesy of the charity I did through Harambee. I am sure there is a bill the leader of majority is going to bring. Those of us who believe in the Almighty God, that whatever He gives you, you must share. I really want to urge you, when that bill comes, let's regulate it. There are people who abuse it. Recipients abuse it. Others abuse it. They use the money stolen, corruption, for Harambee, for other things. But let us, particularly, let us regulate that you can help the poor person who could not pay school fees in Samburu, in Garissa, in Eldoret, that you can finance through your own resources that God has given you, the good medical care clinic that Honorable Deputy Speaker did to many people. So I don't think whether we can close Harambee, but it's good we regulate it. And I think most of us who sit here every weekend and in our life as leaders, we have, God has blessed us because of that. I think logging. I think logging plantation, I said 150,000 hectares are made of plantation in our forest. There used to be the culture, Mr. Speaker, when you were minister, you remember, it used to be, what do you call it, allocation. Tied with corruption. Who is who? The really sawmillers were not getting it. The really people in the timber industry were not getting it. Mr. Speaker, that has stopped. Now, we have a segment for the local sawmillers within that forest, I think up to about 40%. Then we have another 60%. Then we have 40% for the other national sawmillers. But all this must be done through a proper, transparent procurement system, which is on our website, the website of Kenya Forest Service, and each and every Kenyan will be given, Mr. Speaker. Corruption will not be there when it comes to logging. And then last, I think, is technology. Honorable Suda, if you want us, of course, we want to increase our staff. We want to even use technology. We want to use drone to plant trees. We go to a forest, we see the degraded area, we use a drone that can do 2 million seeds in 1 hour. That technology is what we want to monitor our forest, to help our forest adjutants, to help our forest rangers, technology. But all this needs resources, and as a member of the Budget Committee, when Honorable Chair of Environment, Honorable Gikaria come, please support us.
Honorable Duale, if you are approved to be suitable to take this position, I want to urge you, take a helicopter and fly around all public forests and see the level of destruction going on. You will see what looks like a forest by the roadside. A kilometer inside, there's no forest. Charcoal poachers, illegal grazers, illegal loggers. It is bad business. We encourage you, in the event you find favor with this committee and be appointed the Minister for Environment. Environmental degradation has been classified as an existential threat to not only Kenya, but the rest of humanity. At least go down in history as a man who saved Kenya. Go to schools, teach children how to plant trees and live with trees. If a child goes to standard 1 and is given 2 trees to adopt, by the time they leave standard 4, 5, the tree is mature. Leta maji kidogo, mwagilia asubuhi. When you come to school, you check if your tree is safe. Very simple things. Because you talked of forest cover and tree cover. So the two will help us aggregate forests, enforce the Forest Act. If you go around the country and we want you to tell Kenyans what you are going to do, all our wetlands are being drained by farmers. There are small swamps that aggregate to a lot of wetlands in this country. They're all being subdivided, fenced, and drained away. What are you going to do about this? Because you have the law backing you to gazette all these as public assets. And if the owners compensate them, but protect them so that we can have a better environment. In the case you find favor of this committee, what are you going to do to protect the environment and the forests of Kenya?
Mr. Speaker, as you said, we have 11,000 wetlands. And the legal regime and the necessary laws are in place. I want to commit to you that we will protect, if this committee approves me, we will protect our wetlands. Secondly, even the 150 billion trees that we are to plant, the best place to plant is in our wetlands. Because in the wetlands, we don't need water. In the wetlands, we don't wait for the rains to plant. So even the 150 billion, we will start with our 11,000 wetlands found in all our 47 counties. But I agree with you, the forest that we see inside is a hollow. There is illegal grazing. There is corruption also between these illegal people doing either grazing or logging with our officers. We will take whatever it takes that there is accountability even within the over 6,000 forest rangers who have been mandated, who are paid by the taxpayers to protect our forest and our wetlands.
There is a citizen who has sent me a message to ask you that on Mount Kenya, Mount Elgon, Mount Longonot, there are climbers who do that activity regularly, carrying food, drinks, and all manner of things. He's asking whether, if you are approved to be the minister, you will provide facilities on those climbing paths of toilets and bins for depositing litter. Because they say those climbers have got no toilet facilities, and you know what that means. And is that water that percolates down for human use? There's nowhere to throw litter, so there's litter everywhere. And this, I think, this Kenyan must be an environmentalist. Yes.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, even their facilities.
Owen Bayer wants to add to that.
I have received something here that probably interest you. I'll ask Honorable Duale in regard to camels from northeastern region contributing to land degradation by wandering all over Taita Taveta throughout the year, contributing to hunger and poverty.
Quick one, Speaker, the last one. If you, I'm told if you can ask Honorable Duale regarding any plans to stop pharmaceutical companies and other companies who are dumping waste in the sea in Mombasa. Recently, needles were found during the cyclone that was going on there.
Robert?
Yeah, thank you. There is also a gentleman from Kitui County called Mr. Paul Mutua who says that there is concerns of insecurity in Mwingi and Kitui along the Kitui-Tana River border of an invasion of armed nomadic herders with camels in the area. Can Honorable Duale deny or acknowledge he has more than 100 camels in that area and that is also causing insecurity?
Yes.
Mr. Speaker, maybe if you allow me, can I ask a hypothetical question?
No, just answer them one by one.
No,
Start with
just
the climbers.
before that.
Okay.
If you allow me, I want to ask a hypothetical question. In the Parliamentary Appointment Act, the public have a timeline of 7 days to submit all their concerns. Is it...
Honorable Duale,
Yes, sir.
the public have 7 days to submit a memorandum that on oath that is either exposing something against you, something adverse on you, but when members are here and a member of the public sends a question, that is a legitimate addition to what we are doing.
Mr. Speaker, I cannot talk for
Because nobody...
camel herders.
Yes.
Camel herders in Kisii County. I am a camel owner, and you'll see it in my list of assets.
Yes.
And my camels are in between Isiolo and Garissa County. But there's a historical notion by the leadership of Kitui, Machakos, that the problem of insecurity and camels in Kitui is not something that started today. It is their cherry pick. It's every time they speak, they do that. So I can only speak for my camels.
Of course.
They're in Garissa.
Talk about your camels.
And next time, Mr. Speaker, when you have time, they're doing very well, so I'll take you there. You have a history with Balambala.
Yes.
So you go see your client.
Correct.
And see my camels. Secondly, the same with Taveta. I have no camels in Taveta, so, and I don't know which camels are in Taveta.
That raises the matter.
That raises the matter. On pharmaceutical...
Let him answer. Let him finish with...
On the pharmaceutical, yes, I agree. NEMA has a very strong enforcement...
Hold on, Duale. What's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, why is it that all camels that are traversing the country, people think belong to Honorable Duale? And there are many camel owners like us.
Simply because he carries the tag as a senior leader from the region. So people associate everything from the region with the leader.
And the Speaker, I am ready now and in the future to carry the tag of the community. That's why, as you said, I am their leader. And I have no apologies to
answer what Naisula asked you.
Naisula asked me about, and I agree. I think we need to protect the environment, more so the sea. There was even one time some people wanted to dispose of condemned sugar into the sea, and we refused. NEMA has a very strong enforcement policy. The other stakeholders who protect our marine at the coast are also on top of everything, and we will make sure. But Honorable Laisuda, maybe if you have the details, you'll help us. That particular company, we will deny the licenses straight away. Yeah.
The climbers?
Mr. Speaker, the camels are many.
The
climbers, Mr. Speaker, even at the bottom of most of these mountains, particularly Abadeas, and their facilities, only that they have been left to waste. So we need first to have the facilities, the lodges. It can be a very good tourism attraction. And then on top, as they climb.
Yeah. Honorable Duale, I think like I've climbed Kilimanjaro, so I know what happens.
Yes.
At every stop where people eat, there should be a bio toilet that
Yes.
can be, the waste can be disposed.
Yes.
There should be the containers for put to throw the paper, if they're carrying any bottles and so on, but also bandas so that they can sleep at intervals. Because I know that if that doesn't happen, then what happens is the waste ends up being left and you get volunteers who actually go and pick it up. So it's actually a way of protecting the climbing route. But Mount Kenya is better. Kilimanjaro is a crisis.
I'll find out. And in fact, there are 10 of my good friends who have left today for Kilimanjaro for 10 days. But I think it's a very good idea. We will make sure that we implement it. It will help us in increasing the numbers of the people who will climb.
Also, the climbers to be hired in the Kenya Forest Service and the wildlife.
For guidance.
Mr. Speaker, there's a clarification I would require from the nominee. Because when I asked the question, I said I've read the question from someone called Paul Mutua from Kitui. In his response, he has said that, and this is on record, he said leaders from Machakos and Kitui Now, this is not a leader. This is just a person who sent me the message. I can even share with him. So I would like a clarification. When he says leaders from Machakos and Kitui are basically picking on him, it's important because I'm a leader from Machakos and I'm just reading a question.
Point of order.
Because I've hold the Quran.
Point of order, Honorable Speaker. That will be an interjection between now leaders of Garissa and leaders of Kitui. They have nothing to do with it, Honorable Speaker.
No, I think if you allow me, he has asked a very good question. He has asked a very good question, but I want to give evidence. Speak on a number of times. And one of the time was when my good friend, the Wiper leader, lost his mother. I think, his father, one of his parents. And I went with the President Uhuru Kenyatta. And starting with the leader of Wiper, all the way to all the leaders from that region, one after the other, and I can provide the clip. They have mentioned me that I told President Uhuru Kenyatta that will happen, and he says, let's go. And they were asking, they were telling him, but he never replied. We have a river border, but the really border is between Tana River and Kitui. So it is something which is in the public domain. It is the leaders, the senator for Kitui, the leadership.
Let's not go that route.
But that's it.
Let's not go that route.
I'll find another avenue to deal with that matter, not at the vetting.
All public people have at one time or another been others punching bags. So it should not, it's part of the occupational hazard. Honorable Duale, is it
Leader by the nominees also unfair? Because that was never the issue. I just showed a message from a person, and I said I'm willing to show the message to the candidate.
Honorable Kalonzo is not an issue here.
Yes.
So
Mr. Speaker, I withdrew. I have a lot of respect for Honorable Kalonzo.
Thank you.
I have a lot of respect for Honorable Mbui. He was my schoolmate. I have nothing personal. I am sorry, I have withdrawn.
Thank you. Honorable Duale, now answer the following short questions. Have you been adversely mentioned in any integrity-related report or investigations?
Never in my life, Mr. Speaker.
Do you hold any leadership position in any political party?
No, but I'm a member of a political party. No leadership. Member, I'm allowed,
Yes.
Mr. Speaker. I read the law.
State your net worth.
My net worth, Mr. Speaker, is, as of today, 980 million.
980 million?
Yes.
Comprising?
I have provided comprises of, I have pieces of lands, both in Garissa and Nairobi, my rental property in Nairobi and Garissa, my shares in family-owned business.
Of books that have been launched in this country. I want to know how yours performed.
My book, you'll see, is the best.
That is not a fair question. Leave it there.
Mr. Speaker, and it is from a research done by bookshop sellers, textbook center.
I bought 20 copies and distributed
Mr.
to my
Speaker.
schools.
And I have now done my 4th publication.
Honorable Duale, we had received 71 memorandum on you, some supporting, some opposing, and we are satisfied that you answered all of them when we forwarded them to you. We've also checked your We are done with you. Unless you are otherwise lawfully held, we are done with you. Unless you are otherwise lawfully held, you are released to go to your other daily routine work.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I really appreciate the time you have given me and your members. I wish you all the best.
Take back your documents.
See.
Bring in the next. Do you want a break? Bring in the next. Don't go for lunch. You'll go for lunch after the 3rd. Only 5 minutes. Robert.
Malik. Ya nani?
Hiyo ya Eric.
Unajua ni mkamba wenu sasa ndio unaniambia.
One, two. One, two.
bring the nominee. Good afternoon. The mic. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Speaker, sir.
You are Mr. Eric Murithi Muga.
Yes, sir.
How do you pronounce the last name? Muga or Muga?
Muga.
Muga.
M-U-G-A-A.
Muga.
Yes.
Very good. Welcome to this Committee of Parliament. Have you ever appeared before a Committee of Parliament? No.
No.
This is your maiden appearance.
Yes.
Welcome to Parliament for this process of approval hearings. We are going to engage you for the next 1 hour or so to acceptability to take off. This is a committee of appointments in Parliament in the National Assembly. The
MP Poko South.
Gikaria David, Nakuru Town East.
Emase Mary, Teso South.
George Gitonga Murugara, Tharaka.
Owen Baya, Kilifi North.
Robert Mbui, Kadhiani.
Stephen Mule, MP Matungulu.
Rehab Mukami, Nyeri County.
And I'm Caleb Amisi. Yeah, Caleb Amisi support.
Thank you, Chairman. Mishimboko Likoni.
We will start. Eric, we'll invite you to introduce yourself. Tell us your name, your educational background, your work experience, your competences, and why you think you have the suitability to the appointment to which you have been proposed. After that, you give your papers to FI, but before we do that, we'll invite you to take an oath. We have the holy books, the Quran and the Bible. Which one do you swear with? Standing, take the Bible in your right hand and recite the oath that the sergeant will hold for you.
I, Eric Murithi Muga, do swear that the evidence I shall give for this committee on the matter and its consideration shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Take your seat. You've given her your papers to bring to the clerk. He will cross-check with what we have to see if they correspond. So start by introducing yourself, your name, your educational background, your work experience, and your competences.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the Committee on Appointments. I'll start by thanking God for this opportunity to sit in front of the esteemed members and also the President for giving me on this nomination. My name is Eric Mureithi Muga, 32 years of age, born in a village called Aden, which is in Igembe South constituency, Meru County. I went to Aden Primary School, which is a walking distance from my birthplace, and did my KCPA in 2005. I performed well and enrolled in Lenana School, where I sat my KCSE in the year 2009. After that, I performed well. I progressed to the University of Nairobi, Faculty of Architecture and Engineering, where I did a bachelor's degree in civil engineering and civil and construction engineering. I performed really well. I got a first class amongst my colleagues, and upon graduation, I got a job that relates to this docket of sanitation and irrigation in a company called Mangat IB Patel Consulting Engineers. This is one of the leading consulting firms in this country. While working, I was very interested in water, so I enrolled back in the year 2017 for a master's degree in the University of Nairobi and specialized on water resources engineering, where I graduated in the year 2022. I'm born in a family with 6 siblings. I'm the third born. I am married, and I've worked for 8 to 9 years, Honorable Speaker, on water and sanitation. In the process of carrying out my daily activities, I have worked at all levels, mostly in the private sector. I've worked at all levels. I've worked and engaged with stakeholders from the ministry, mostly water development works as consultant. I have progressed in my career growth from an intern to a design engineer, and now to assistant resident engineer and also in some projects, an assistant project engineer. I am duly registered with the Engineers Board of Kenya as a professional engineer, and duly registered with the Institution of Engineers of Kenya as a corporate member. During my work activities, I have developed a passion to ensure that every Kenya, in my little scope that I've served so far, has access to water, which is a human right, and also a constitutional right. Service to my fellow countrymen is a service to God, and given the opportunity, if this House approves my nomination, I will do all I can to ensure that Kenyans have access to an economic and basic right and serve with honor and dignity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eric. I'll now invite members to ask you some questions, and I expect you to answer the questions clearly, precisely, and concisely. Hakuna stories. You just answer the questions as they are asked. I'll invite the Deputy Speaker to be the first to ask you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Muga, you most likely were following the proceedings in Parliament and the country, and you know that the Finance Bill 2024 was withdrawn, which therefore means that there is a shortage of funding in the ministry to which you seek confirmation. So that I would like to hear your ideas on the alternatives. For example, since the majority of farmers are small-scale holders, leveraging on the use of water pans and harvesting during the rainy season for use for the rest of the year. We know that places like Yatta only get 2 days of rain a year, but they have water pans and are producing food the whole year. So we want to see how you can leverage on that. So that the higher percentage of will be water pans as opposed to big dams, which you don't have money for now. And also, how will you leverage on the public-private partnerships to be able to fund the water?
Gladys Boss question on cage our projects in such a way. WASREB is responsible for the tariffs. On water pans is not a long-term solution to our water problems, especially in the areas you've mentioned of Yatta, etc. But they are relatively inexpensive compared to dams. To develop large-scale dams, that's where we will need the leverage of PPPs. And in this case, I will work with the Directorate of PPPs and the Exchequer, the National Treasury, to ensure that Kenyans get value for money. Thank you.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Indeed, Eric has preempted my question because I wanted to ask him about how he can leverage on PPPs, but since you have answered that, I don't know if you were to explore the possibility of using PPPs for the large-scale dams. Do you, in your opinion, think there is also an opportunity to leverage on the development of dams together with using those dams for agriculture and leasing land for large-scale farming, where you can get investors who will want to lease land for large-scale farming and at the same time develop the dams for use in the irrigation projects, and the same dams can be used to provide water, as you said, to end users at a rate that will not exploit the Kenyan consumers of water. Two, I have seen you have had quite some experience with in the area of sanitation, especially your work with the Nairobi River Sewerage Project. And one of your state departments, if approved, will deal with sanitation matters. How do you intend to deal with the issue of pollution? Working again together with the Ministry of Environment. Do you see any opportunities around that space? Thank you, Speaker.
Eric.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. In response to the question from Ichung'wah, Honorable Ichung'wah, it is true that to develop large-scale dams, we will need external funding that the government at the moment, due to austerity measures, cannot sustain. These large-scale dams, Honorable Ichung'wah, through the chairperson or the speaker, are multi-purpose dams. They not only provide water for domestic use, which is basic, they also provide water for irrigation. Irrigation is a key component in sustaining and developing climate resilience amongst arid and semi-arid areas. The concept Honorable Ichung'wah, through the speaker, has raised is viable. That if we develop a dam, a large-scale dam, in an arid and semi-arid area, it is prudent to also have a PPP to lease land for irrigation so that we have value for money for our large investments. It would be utterly wrong, if approved by this House, if I don't explore that option. Water is a human right, and also water is intertwined with food security. So on irrigation, Honorable Ichung'wah, through the Speaker, that is correct. That's correct.
Could you tell us, since you've worked in the water sector, do you have any success? Do you know of any success stories where the dams, large-scale dams, have been built using the PPP method?
Thank you for your question, Honorable Boss, through the Speaker. There are case studies. I haven't done any of them, but there are many case studies where actually in the development of concept notes for these PPPs, irrigation is a key component so that during financial feasibility, when doing a dam, we expect benefits, apart from indirect benefits of such as microclimates that develop within the region. The piece that comes with avoidance of animal, livestock, and people conflicts due to drought and famine. Some benefits, key benefits that are considered are domestic water, irrigation, very key for production of food, and hydropower. Thank you.
Small follow-up on that, because of those issues of PPP CS nominee. You cut the image of a young person, very professional, a good scholar, and that of a clean slate. You'll be getting into a space in the public sector that over the years has been marred by corruption. I see you shaking your head. I hope that shaking of your head is signifying a determination that you will not get roped into the cartels that have bedeviled the water sector over the years. If you have been taken through the State Department of Irrigation and the construction of those mega dams, from Badasa to Ma Dam, they're all riddled with corruption. What can you tell the people of Kenya, and more so the young people of Kenya, in relation to where you stand today and the position you'll take in the fight against corruption in the development of water resources in the country?
Thank you, Speaker. The fact that I am about to face cartels and corruption, I will put my stand public. I have diligently served in my previous positions. I have held transparency, accountability, and my firm stand on corruption is, as you've said, I come as a clean slate. I'm not beholden to anyone. I am not shackled or tethered to anyone. And I think this is my personal opinion. Corruption is a cancer in the society. We have to root it out one way or the other. And if my nomination is approved by this House, I will engage in my duties, bracing and embracing integrity, honesty, and accountability to lead from the front. And if there are couplets, and I would expect the same from state officers under my mandate in the ministry. And if any of them is found capable of this, I understand we are a constitutionally bound country, and I will let the agents that deal with corruption, that is the EACC, and other investigative bodies take their course, and the law should be followed to the latter. Thank you, sir.
Nelson.
You come into the cabinet as the face of the young people. I'd like to know how you intend to use your ministry to create employment, because the biggest problem that we have in the country at the moment is youth unemployment. I want to hear that. And what innovations will you be proposing in the cabinet to make sure that the young people of this country have opportunities to be employed?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Speaker, sir. I would like to respond to Honorable Nelson on youth employment. 75% of Kenya's economy is driven by agriculture. I appreciate that. And I also appreciate that the young people are advocating for services. I am not naive, and I will appreciate that. On youth employment, the ministry as a State Department of Irrigation. Irrigation is mandated to harvest, store water. It is mandated to reclaim lands for productivity. And it is also mandated to increase the acreage of irrigation in the country. If approved by this House, I would first of all start by sensitization. We need as a country to appreciate that agriculture is not a by the way. It is a profession in itself. It is an economic activity that generates income to all of us. The young people, we need to understand that since high school, I would work with other ministries, such as the Ministry of Education, that projects such as micro irrigation that the ministry is rolling out, whereby we sink boreholes, pump the water to an elevated tank, and give the opportunity to clubs, like 4K clubs, to irrigate land for subsistence farming. Those activities are being coordinated with agriculture teachers to inculcate that and train the young people, who I understand approximately 800,000 to 500,000 young people are getting out of tertiary institutions. If they have this prior knowledge, and when they come out, I would advocate for private entrepreneurs to further these skills acquired at school level, while the ministry's job would be to provide water for irrigation. On innovation, we as a country, we have to embrace the fact that technology is changing every day. Changes in technology comes with new ideas, brighter and better ways to do activities. For example, in the ministry, I have been involved in water service providers distribution networks. These networks, most of them are people depend on memory to remember where the existing lines were, how they were done, when they were done. So I would encourage innovation in activities such as modeling, which will empower and employ young people in these water service providers to forego and to eliminate dependence on people's memory. Technicians depend on memory to tell you where the pipeline is. Smart meters in these WSPs, where these meters are GSM enabled, creating more opportunities for the youth. And if I find an opportunity to sit in the cabinet as approved by this House, I would also be a champion to developing policies, not only in my ministry, but in other ministries that include and take care of public participation, especially the young people, inclusivity, and that their opinions are heard and they find the final decision or the final policy that is adopted as a country accommodates their issues.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Naisula.
Thank you, Speaker. Mr. Muga, my question is, if you are found suitable by this committee and the National Assembly to be the CS of water, sanitation and irrigation, how will you balance the thin line between completion of existing and ongoing projects and starting new ones? And you should just have in mind, if approved, these members of parliament and many others who are not here will be knocking your door, saying there's this project in my constituency, and I want to know whether you'll also be intimidated. Some of these members who are third-timers, fourth-timers, older than you, bigger than you. Please, Kenyans would like to know how you'll be dealing with that. Then the second question is, I want to pick your thought on the many water agencies we have in this country. We have them in Regional Development Authority, we have some under the Ministry of Water, and what purpose they serve. You know, they're all serving the same communities. We're giving funds to a certain regional development body. We're giving another one to a water agency. The money for development is lesser than the recurrent expenditure. I want to pick your thoughts whether that is a prudent use of resources for us as a country.
Hold, Eric will take another one. Posing.
Thank you, Speaker. For the nominee, I don't know whether you know what you are almost, should you be approved, where you're going, but the kind of industry you're going in. And maybe to help Honorable Chair and Chairman and Speaker, two things. One, there are dams which are already built, and some of them are 50% in this country, big dams. Some of them 50%, some of them 60%, 70% in terms of completion. And an example is one which is in my county. As an example, there are many in this country, but I'll give you one example, which is Muruny Dam, which costed about like 10 billion Kenya money, but it's not complete. Now with the austerity measures or finance bill having been rejected, and many debate about now where we're going to get money, what will be your proposal on how to deal with that? Because PPP, which we suggested, is actually a future dams. But there are dams which are almost 80–90% complete, which are going to stall. And I hope you know what it means if a project is stalling like that. It means the contractor will be out of the ground, or is already out of the ground anyway, and then he's going to, whatever is asking government, that's accumulating interest. You know, so we will end up paying, rather than now paying 10 billion, we might do 20 billion. So what we do about that? Number two, there is a cancer which many Kenyans don't know. And I want to tell you, nominee, should you be appointed, please make sure, take care of this. From audit perspective, we have realized that as a country, there are again so many dams which are built using loans, right, from outside this country, from developing agencies or develop banks and so on. And that loan, MOGA, is being paid by National Treasury as exchequer, which means from our taxes. And those Kenyans who are paying those taxes, for example, are not even enjoying that water. So there's been a serious debate that even those agencies which run this water, those now regional agencies, they don't pay. So National Treasury ends up mobbing out taxes to pay for the loan about those projects. Therefore, there was a proposal, MOGA, there was a proposal in the discussion to say, why don't we charge a levy from the waters that we used to build using these loans, so that then National Treasury can build that loan? What will be your opinion as you come in? Will you agree with that opinion? And if you don't agree, what will be the future? Will we pay taxes on water?
Too long, Posing. You have made your point.
Or is it too long?
Yes.
I thought I was building the point so that they can understand. Sometimes, Honorable Speaker,
you've made the point.
Yes, but sometimes we also help them to get knowledge. It's true.
Okay.
And there's a reason why we are in this committee, Chair. There's a reason.
You've got the question. Start with Naisula, go to Posing.
Thank you, Speaker. If I may respond to Honorable Nesula's question, on the lean line between completion of projects and starting new projects. As I initially stated, I am well aware of our austerity measures. However, projects that have been started have already, Kenyans and the taxpayer has already sunk money in these projects. Honorable Nesula, through the Speaker, my target would first of all to complete these projects and ensure that Kenyans get value for their money. How do they get value for their money? Through connections. The only proof that we are truly working as a country towards achievement of Vision 2030 of 100% water connectivity is by completing the projects and actually having connections to Kenyans. I agree it's a thin line between, because the House members may want new projects in their areas. And I would like to be reasonable. And we'll ask the Speaker, the same matter might come to your House again, to protect me, because members, Kenyans have already spent money on old projects that are not helping anyone. Unless we complete this, then we'll have a chain of incomplete projects throughout the country. And the Vision 2030, and well aware that water is one of the SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, we will not achieve that by 2030. The second question from Honorable Nesula through the Speaker was on my thoughts on the many water agencies we have in this country. Our constitution is very clear, and the Water Act 2016 on the establishment of institutions that are required to man and manage the water affairs of the country. In case there is need to review this, I will be open to advisement through, of course, consultation, because I'm a team player, and wide research to see whether we can channel that to a centralized system that is easier to monitor and save the recurrent expenditure that Honorable Nesula is worried about.
Will members intimidate you?
If I may answer the question, Honorable Speaker, I think don't look at the size and think you can easily intimidate me. So I'm comfortable in my shoes. I think I have proven that for many years that I've lived. Thank you. Or want to answer? Honorable Gusii, through the Speaker, I would like to make it clear that I'm well aware of his dam. He has been vocal about this for many sessions in the House and in the previous, my predecessor, who was vetted on nominee on water. And I understand that his dam is approximately 50% complete. He has stated that almost 10 billion Kenya shillings have been sunk into the project. And now we are facing austerity measures, and this dam was not one of the PPP projects. And I'm also aware, as he said, of the costs that incur when a contractor stops work, claims that come, that are expensive to the exchequer. I would like to promise Honorable Gusii, if this House approves me, maybe I will take him exactly to his dam as I discuss and get facts on exactly the status of that dam, and not only that dam, all other dams that are being financed by the national government, the exchequer, prepare a report on the same, and if our finances are not adequate, I will come to this House again and table my case to ensure that we don't have hanging projects, as I said. His second question was on loans that were taken by water works development agencies that are being serviced by the exchequer. I am well aware that the Ministry, Department of Water and Sanitation, is approximately, has a loan of approximately 225 billion. This came up in the sense that projects were done, and water being a devolved function, these projects were handed over to county governments through water service providers. I have been in this industry with water service providers for a long time. Now, the status is the water service providers, most of them don't break even in their collection during billing. So there is no money remittance to the water development works that should trickle back to repayment of these loans. I can promise you, if this House approves my nomination, I will work to strengthen our water service providers' institutions. I understand and I am well aware it is a burden to the exchequer, and we will work to ensure that these water service providers reduce their non-debit water, increase their billing, increase their last mile connectivity. As I said, last mile connectivity is the activity or projects that bring value to Kenyans. And through that, when our institutions become semi-autonomous, we can generate enough revenue to help in payment of these loans. Otherwise, I will have to consult with the National Treasury and also the task force established by the President on debt restructuring. Thank you.
Gikaria.
Thank you very much, Chair. Nothing much on the questionnaire that you did fill in. You have indicated you are a director in JAFEC Limited Company. Does it deal in water and sanitation issues? If yes, then how are you going to address, as per bullet 26, the conflict of interest, potential conflict of interest? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Speaker Asa. If I can address the question from Honorable Gikaria, I understand the responsibilities of this office if approved by this honorable committee. And yes, JAFEC is a group of like-minded engineers, very bright, to be honest. And if approved by this House, I will have to take a step back from that. Under the conflict of interest, as I said earlier, I have given my word that
I think that what it is that it doesn't mean you have to pull back. It's just that if that company ever gets a contract where you have influence, you declare a conflict of interest. Then at that time, the decision-making process can be that, don't give it to my company, or that it is known, so that you have no hand in it. So don't tie yourself. Honorable Gikaria is getting you into trouble.
No,
Thank you.
I appreciate what you have indicated, because what I expected is that he will declare his interest and maybe vacate.
Eric, be very concise. He asked, are you a director of this company?
Yes.
Yes.
Does it deal in the water sector? If the answer is yes, then you go to the next issue.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes. So to confirm, I'm a director in that company. The company deals in water, sanitation, buildings, etc.
Okay. Robert Mbui, you'll pass. Owen?
Looking at your CV, Mr. Muga, our nominee, I see that you have done extensive work in Kilifi. Thank you very much for that kind of work. I'm a young person, oh, not young really, but I want to ask you this question specifically, that you understand that environment. Water from Kilifi comes from Baricho. Baricho is on the lower side. For water to come to Mombasa, the water needs to go up. You know, so this is one of the unique cases in Kenya where you have water has to go up instead of gravity. The cost of electricity there is exorbitant, is very, very high. And the people of the coast actually have issues with power that is used for production of water. Now, the water is a constitutional right, but the cost of producing that water is very, very high, and therefore leading to high electricity bills with Kenya Power, and sometimes water is disconnected because of very high. What would be your solution to solve that problem, especially for the whole of coast region, where water has to be generated, has to be pumped up using electricity? What is your practical solution to that problem?
Hold, Eric, yes, Murugara. Take those
Yes,
two.
thank you, Mr. Speaker. One question. Eric, Kenyans have waited for water for the last 60 years with abated breath. Millions of households everywhere are waiting for water. And they now look upon you, if approved by this House, to actually give them water. What is your word to them? And what should be their expectation from you as a young, qualified engineer in water, on whom they will place a lot of reliance as far as water is concerned?
Thank you, Speaker. In response to Honorable Owen's question, is first of all, I will acknowledge that I've even met you. I've worked extensively in the water distribution network in Kilifi. And the challenge is you get water from Baricho, well fields, where water is pumped to Butatu in North Mainland. This is in Mombasa. And that is a long stretch. Unfortunately, the coast region is relatively flat. So flow by gravity becomes a little bit a challenge. But your solution is in Mwache Dam, which is being built in Kwale. So I know the rationing there is almost twice. Water comes on Friday and Mondays. And to solve your problem, unless we sink boreholes in Kilifi, then you don't have an active river, or think of desalination, which is a relatively expensive way of doing it. So once Mwache comes in and water is supplied to Mombasa, and the Kwale County, your rationing problems will reduce, because that water will come up to Mtwapa, serve Kilifi, and then Malindi. So, and your power expenses will be alleviated a little bit. That's being pragmatic to this committee.
Yes, Murugara's question.
Kenyans have waited for many years, Honorable, through the Speaker, Honorable Murugara, as we've said. The ministry has a vision of ensuring 100% connectivity to all Kenyans by 2030. This also agrees with the Africa Water Agenda 2063. my word to Kenyans is, I will do all I can. I will zero mostly on water that is not accounted for, water that is abstracted but does not get to the end user. In Kenya right now, that percentage stands at about 45%. That is water that does not have an economic impact directly to the water service providers, that, and also to Kenyans. If we at least reduce that and also sensitize Kenyans that it is a sole responsibility of every Kenyan to conserve the little that I have. Conservation is key for our renewable sources. That is my commitment to the people of Kenya.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'll introduce myself. I was out, I had gone for mosque. My name is Abdul Rahim Dawood, MP for North Imenti, and I probably, Engineer Muga was born in the same hospital I was born in Maua General Hospital. But I will ask my question.
At different times.
At different times, yes. A span of more than 25, 30 years. He's like my son. Ms. Engineer, you know, I'm hearing dams being built everywhere. But in our region, we've been told about the Kianjuri Dam, which will take water up to Tharaka. Not just Meru County, it will go up to Tharaka, maybe even Embu. I want to know, once you get in, you're talking about the existing which are there. If you come to do ours, will it be in this lifetime or maybe another lifetime? Second, there is a project which has been ongoing in Meru, sanitation, because sanitation is your forte. Sanitation, we've got Meru sewage plant, which has been built for the last 5 years, and it is never been completed. We need sewage everywhere in this country, plants. We need to get it out of towns. What do you envisage to do when you're there? And the last one is, you have talked about boreholes. I don't know if you're aware, in Nairobi, there are 6,000 boreholes. Only 2,000 are licensed. 4,000 boreholes are not licensed. Is borehole the way to go to get water when the aquifers are already dry? So how would you approach that, and how are you going to control it? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mary Massa, let's take the next one.
Through the chairman, I have just one simple question to the nominee. From my experience in service to Wananchi, I realized that we have so many water facilities, boreholes that have been drilled over the years, because there was even a time NGCDF also used to drill boreholes. But there's a problem with the sustainability in terms of maintenance, in terms of repairs. You'll go to an area, you ask Wananchi whether they have water, they say we don't have water. You ask them, have you ever, there's no borehole that has ever been drilled here. There are two, but they're all not functioning. So my simple question, as if approved as the nominee for Minister of Water, what are your plans? What interventions? Because I think there's need for a structured interventions on how to maintain and sustain this repair and maintenance across the country where these boreholes have been drilled. Thank you.
Nominee.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll start with Honorable Dawood's question on Kianjuri Dam. Honorable Dawood, I appreciate your concern about dams in Meru. I also come from Meru. There are not many. In this regard, as you've correctly pointed that my target would be first to complete the ongoing projects, I will look at, we have a Kenya National Water Master Plan. I will review. These dams are not done because they have to be done. They are done on need basis. So if there are regions that are more deserving, in the spirit of integrity, we will do the right thing. And as you said,
point of order. Yes. Point of order, Speaker.
Yes, Daud.
The nominee, although he comes from my county, and he's aware of, maybe he's lived out of Meru for long, and he says they will prioritize where there is a need. Honorable Murugara's constituency and his county, there is a big need. Even in my constituency, there is a big need. So let us not be put in the ones who are satisfied. We are not satisfied.
Go ahead.
Thank you for that, Honorable Daud. I'm not saying that you are satisfied. Let me clarify myself through the chair, through the speaker. I'm well aware of regions in Meru, like Tharaka, and I am well aware the president the other day commissioned a Gusii dam. Yes, it's someplace in Tharaka. Yes, yes. So, if we look at the master plan, the national water master plan, and which I have not, I've lived in Meru my entire life, first of all, to clarify that. So I am not a stranger to those lands, and even Honorable Muragara's region. All I can promise you is that we will look at the needs of Kenyans and also serve them on need basis. If your region is truly deserving of that, Honorable Muragara and Honorable Daud, your time shall come. The next question was sanitation in Meru. I am aware of that project that has taken long to be completed. I don't have the details right now, but I can assure Honorable Daud that I'll find out and get back to you. Through the chair, the speaker, Honorable Emase, your question was on sustainability of operations and maintenance. I would like to pronounce myself that operations and maintenance is mostly the responsibility of the WSP, unless you have privately owned facilities. For this to happen, it's a revenue problem. I have pronounced myself before this honorable committee that I am targeting to reduce non-revenue water from a bigger percentage, which is currently at 45, and bring it to less than 20 to allow the WSPs have adequate revenue to undertake operations and maintenance. Secondly, uptake of technology will play a vital role through the speaker in ensuring that operations and maintenance are minimized in such that if all our water facilities are well mapped in a centralized program, part of the innovation I was talking about, it is easier to pinpoint the year when they were built and to pinpoint when their time comes for repairs and maintenance. I hope I address your question, Honorable Mase. There was a question, Honorable Speaker, by Honorable Daud on boreholes in Nairobi, where you noted there was an article circulating that talked of 6,000 boreholes in Nairobi, and there's a possibility of Nairobi taps running dry. I am aware that regulation of sinking boreholes and approvals are given by the Water Resources Authority. However, the Water Resources Authority, and like most of our government institutions, are underfunded, and the resources in terms of personnel is minimum. My solution to this problem is, first of all, empower our institutions with the right resources, with the right personnel, and with people of merit. Meritocracy should be a key conversation in the ministry. Secondly, our boreholes could also be running dry because of their close proximity. There are provisions in design on the distance in between one borehole to the other because of recharge time. And also, Nairobi is every day turning into a concrete jungle. I will work in partnership with departments of planning in the county government and have something we call detention and retention ponds, to the point that when it rains, the water Okay.
Go on.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I thought you were interjecting, sorry. Our retention and detention pods are recharge areas for aquifers. You realize when it rains in Nairobi, our roofs direct the water to the drains. And the water flows very fast past at the river, and it's gone. There's no seepage. So detention and detention dams are some of the ideas I would like to bring to the ministry, whereby, working in conjunction with county governments, we have parks specifically to hold that runoff.
In fact, Eric, under Schedule 4 of the Constitution, you are empowered to formulate policy for the country for protection of water, securing sufficient residual water, hydraulic engineering, and the safety of dams. So you have a duty even to guide counties. What Daud is saying is true. In Nairobi, boreholes are, some are even 50 meters apart, if even less, everywhere.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for that support. And Honorable Daud, this is not a theory. I have been to Israel to benchmark on the same. So this can happen.
Amisi?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, to the Honorable nominee, I understood that you said you are 32 years of age. So in the demographic bracket, it puts you at the millennial, just like me. I'm a millennial. Yes, he's actually a millennial.
Yeah, he's a millennial.
The last of millennial, yeah.
Yeah, he's a millennial.
I think I belong in the middle of the millennium. Yeah, so you are basically closer. You are the closest the Gen Zs can come to. And that puts you like a control experiment in the management of the nation. A point whereby if you succeed, the young people feels that, yes, we can do it, one of our own did it. And if you fail, that will be the end of the young people's agitation in this country, because you will give a mark that even if you are given a responsibility, one of your own was there, and this is what he did. You understand that's a very, very important position you are going in. And that marks my question that what is this managerial experience that you bring to the ministry that you are going in? Then secondly, there is a drought problem in this country, and the water harvesting has been suggested as one of the ways of combating, just to mitigate the effects of drought on the supply of water, and especially to schools, because you see members of parliament running helter-skelter in town looking for water from all the ministries and parastatals. It's basically the problems of water in schools. How do you intend to mitigate the drought area and the supply of water to schools across the country? I want you to juxtapose that one with the presence of Lotikipi. There is a Lotikipi aquifer that can supply, it has been found out that it can actually supply underground water for 70 years to this country. How do you plan to utilize that? Thank you.
Hold, Eric. Mukami has nothing. Mishi?
And Honorable
thank you.
Speaker,
yes,
just as to say that these questions were actually sent to me by Gen Zs.
Mishi?
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Chairman. Honorable Chairman, my question is to the nominee on how he's going to navigate complex geopolitical dynamics to forge equitable agreement on shared water resources. I'm citing some areas, like for instance, in the coast region, we have the Mwache Dam, we have the Marere Spring, which is shared between Mombasa County and Kwale County, and there have been some rift, or rather some conflicts. I'm also looking on the Mzima Spring in Taita Taveta, which is also be shared by Mombasa County and also Taita Taveta County. And most of the time there are some issues, and that is why you have seen, we have not realized the Mzima Spring too, because they are undercurrent politics. So how are you going to navigate on this issue so that there is harmony and there is assurance of having access to water to our Kenyans? My other question is, right now, currently, agricultural productivity is not matching with our growing population, resulting in higher dependence on food imports. And one of the reasons is that we are still on dependence on rain-fed agriculture. So what kind of interventions are you going to do to ensure that at least as Kenyans, we have food sufficiently? Lastly, are you still believing that the Kenya Kwanza government is going to realize one of the key pillars on building of 1,000 dams? And what is the status right now? How many dams have you realized right now? I thank you.
Yes, Maridi. Tell us what you know and avoid what you don't. Yes.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I'll start with the question from Hamisi, who said he's a late mid-millennial. And he's talking about this being a control experiment. I will put it to this House that I could be young of age, but I truly understand the responsibilities on my shoulders.
You already said that. Go on.
Just clarifying myself to him. Secondly, the drought problem in schools.
Some aquifer somewhere. Is it the Turkana one?
Two questions. The Lotikipi aquifer, that is the second question. The first question, Speaker, was the managerial experience that you've acquired elsewhere that you think will help you for the new assignment you have, and the supply of water to schools, of course.
Okay. Okay. Honorable Speaker, I would like to respond to Honorable Hamisi's question on experience. First, I will cite that I'm vastly experienced on water and sanitation issues in the country. I have, as I said, I have worked as a team leader, design, etc. This experience does not mean that professionals in the ministry don't have it. I understand that the ministry is not short of professionals, and it is not short of policy. All I bring to the ministry, if approved by this House, is the ethos of the private sector of accountability, transparency, as people have rightfully asked for, and also I'm a wide consultative person, teamwork. I'm quick study, and I have worked at different stakeholders, down, as I said, from water service providers to water works development agencies. On the question of drought, I will submit to this House that it is unfortunate we have the same thing happening year in, year out. I would like to be a change to that if approved by this House, because I don't believe in active maintenance. I believe in proactive. If we know a certain school, say in Oloitoktok has water shortage problems. It had it last year. It had it last year but one. Then we are supposed to learn as a ministry. Solution to this would include immediate solutions, would include, first of all, gutters, simple solutions. Before we quantum leap, we have to start from the basics. Install gutters in all our primary schools and provide them with tanks to start with. This is taking into account the fact that the population of schools, that water might not be enough. Then the next immediate solution would be, can these people have a borehole that serves the school and the community at large? And then the long-term problem solution, the medium-term solution would be within a region that experiences drought and water scarcity. Why don't we have a water pan and that water is shared among schools during dry periods? The long-term solution is what I talked of. Our only solution is having large storage dams. Right now, our water storage starts at about 103 meter cubic per capita. The target is to achieve above 1,000 meter cubic per capita in the long run. The presence of Lotikipi aquifer that you have mentioned of, I know, if approved by this house, the ministry has one of the ministry departments deals with groundwater. Groundwater is in form of aquifers, as you have rightly pointed. So if this is true, I don't know where you got your data from, the Gen Z who is asking that question. I would like him to provide research, because I believe in research and proper mapping. Then this would have been a game saver, a game changer in those regions. So, but I promise I will work with the department responsible for groundwater harvesting and storage and find out these facts and table it to the members for discussion. Thank you so much, sir. Honorable, if I may, Honorable Speaker, to respond to Mishi. Mishi, I will say I was part of the team that looked at the distribution network in Taita Taveta a while back, if you look at my CV. And I understand that these water resources are shared between counties within that region, specifically Mzima. That was not a bulk distribution network. We were more looking at the distribution network that actually reaches the people. I understand in the Water Act 2016, it is the mandate of the Cabinet Secretary under this docket I'm nominated for to ensure catchment and interbasin transfers are amicable. Kindly, if I get into office approved by this House, Honorable Mishi, I will ensure we have smooth sharing of resources, because all these resources belong to all peoples of Kenya. They could be in your county, but if there's a room for us to accommodate the other and provide water to another Kenyan somewhere else, but I'll get back to you with a proper written discussion on that. And I will also ask for your support on the same, because members within that region have a say to the resources in their region. Thank you so much.
Russell, sorry, Sharia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I guess I had stepped out. That's why you think I'm not here anymore.
Yes.
I'd go to the mosque.
To pray for
Thank you. Eric, my name is Abdi Shurie, MP Balambala. Mine is one very simple question. The right to clean water is seriously hampered by the lack of water infrastructure investments in the rural areas. If confirmed as part of a non-discriminatory policy making, would you consider championing extra complementary funding for rural Kenya? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Eric, my name is Dido Raso. I'm the MP for Saku. Saku is in Marsabit. Devolved function. As I walked in, you say water is a devolved function. If this House approves your nomination, you'll sit at the top, that you'll be the man in charge of water in this land. Then there's no water in Marsabit. Will it not disturb you? Secondly, you went for some training in Israel. It doesn't rain in Israel, and there's no flowing water. But the Israelis have piped water. And I think the only water that is evacuated to Israel is from the Nile, from the Egyptians. Egypt, there's no rain in Egypt, maybe once in a blue moon. They live on the Nile, and every household or every house constructed in Egypt actually experiences running water. So when you look at Igembe or even Marsabit, people still draw water from earth dams, or what in the old colloquial we call ponds. What is coming into your mind that if you are given this job, that every Kenyan, wherever they are likely to get some water, maybe some clean water? Finally, it is about Vision 2030. In Vision 2030, it is projected that Kenya will be a middle-income country with some industrialization, and every household will have some water. With budget cut, austerity measures, and also with the clamor that Kenyans should not pay taxes. What is it that is coming into your mind, that how will you be able to navigate that issue of water, because water is life? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Let's take the last one, Eric Mule.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Thank you very much, Eric, the nominee. I've seen your CV impressive at an early age. Eric, being a young engineer and worked in the industry, I know you have been working under the master plan, the National Water Master Plan of 2013, which should be guiding the country. 11 years down the line, Kenyans are yearning for clean water, and they're also yearning for water for irrigation. If you are approved as a member of the cabinet, I want to hear from you. Are you comfortable with the existing master plan? And if you are given an opportunity, what kind of a master plan for water will you give this country so that Kenyans can realize the dream of clean water as quickly as possible? And the second one, what timelines are you foreseeing to finish some of the major dams like Thwake Dam and Umar Dam in Kitui?
Answer those from Sharia, Raso, and Honorable Mule.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I would like to start with a question from Abdi Sharir on water infrastructure in rural areas. And the funding, whether I would invest more on rural areas. I understand that more than 85% of the country is rural, and these people too deserve the human right of having water and sanitation, improved sanitation. And to do that, we have to leverage now, because of austerity measures, on other development partners. I'm sorry, I think you were not there when I explained this to Honorable Chungwa and Desuda. We have to package I'll repeat, we have to package our projects in such a way that they're attractive to private investors to start with. Water service providers, I don't know where you come from, the region, the name of the water service provider.
I come from Garissa.
What is the name of your water service provider? The city, the company that provides water.
I come from a rural constituency, so which I do not have. But if you want this Garissa water,
yes, thank you.
But they don't serve my constituency.
Yeah. So the county government has the responsibility of last mile connectivity. And to do this, the county government sets up water service providers. Water service providers actually do the actual connections, the last mile connection. So if you're not covered, I can work in synergy with your county government and understand why the water service provider does not cover your region. Secondly, on funding, those water service providers don't actually, so most of them don't break even in matters billing and the expenses O&M, operations and maintenance. To solve this problem, we would have to have the right personnel, invest, as I said, on smart meters, minimize non-revenue water, have these water service providers function as semi-autonomous bodies so that they can also attract funding, because the point here is source for funding. Secondly, we can package a project in your rural areas and pitch to international developers, our development partners. I'm talking about World Bank, African Development Bank, to ensure the Vision 2030 of every Kenyan, especially in rural areas, has access to clean, sustainable, and in adequate quantities water. The question from Honorable Russo, if I may answer this through the speaker. Raso, sorry, my apologies, Honorable. Raso, if I may answer this through the speaker, that water is a devolved function. And your question was, how do I feel that Marsabit don't have water? I am sad, sir. To be honest, I am sad, as you said. That is how I feel. And it is very unfortunate to the people of Marsabit. I will tie this to the question on Israel. Israel is their available water resources, renewable water resources, they are not as endowed as we are as a country. It is unfortunate that 84% of our renewable water resources, Honorable Speaker, go to the ocean. When it rains, we have seen the havoc caused by that water, loss of human life in regions just below your area. And that water is supposed to be, is God-given gift for us to be self-sustainable. To solve that problem, the immediate solution is what I talked about, water pans that are relatively inexpensive. But the long-term solution to that problem are the 100 PPP dams that we are trying to discuss, so that once it rains, we impound that water, have pipe networks to your people of Marsabit, and also enable them. I know Marsabit, some areas are irrigable, and some other areas are really fertile for agriculture. They can do double irrigation without depending on rain-fed agriculture, solving our climate resilience and drought resilience at the same time. So it's a matter of funding. Question from Vision 2030. There was a question on Vision 2030 and austerity of measures and funding. I think I've covered that well. I answered your question on the water problems in Marsabit and long-term solutions. Honorable Mule, there was a question on I've worked with master plans for more than 11 years. As you've said, rightly pointed out, that I will clarify myself. This is my position. What a master plan is a blueprint. It is but a guide. It is not cast on stone. And there are always rooms for adjustments, improvements, and better. Because as we are embracing technology...
Point of Speaker, probably I need to I'm referring to the National Master Plan for Water, the Kenya National Master Plan, which was developed in 2013 with the help of JICA, which gives Kenya the way forward on how to manage, give Kenyans water, supply water. It has been in place for the last 11 years. Is it working? Because you have been on the field. If it is not working, if you are given an opportunity by this committee and approved, are you comfortable with our master plan, or you'll need to go back to the drawing board and come up with a master plan which can help? And my second question was, what are the plans for major dams like Thwake, Umadam?
Okay, if
you know about them, answer.
I want to respond on the...
You are not a minister yet.
Yeah, I know on the situation of the Kenya Water Master Plan. I've worked with it. The problem is not the master plan. The problem is the funding. And I've discussed that, Honorable Mule, through the speaker, that the master plans are okay. The main challenge in this country is funding. So if the master plan is not working, it means we are not implementing it as it should be because of inadequate resources. Your second question on Duale and Uma dams. Sir, I know these dams are ongoing, but I'm not already, the House has not approved me to be a CS. I'm still a nominee. But if the House approves me, I can give you a status and exactly what is happening in writing. Thank you.
Naisula?
This is
the very last.
The very last. And I really wanted to say this and to ask the nominee, the issue of equity in water resource in this country. It is in public domain, and many of these members know that when a CS or a PS, there have been allegations that when a CS or a PS sits there, they allocate water resources to the regions that they come from. And also we have even seen there were allegations where a CS and a PS were fighting over projects, firing people, moving projects. I want to know how you will ensure there is equity in every part of this country, regardless of how they vote, regardless of where people are, to make sure that water is available in every part of this country.
Yes, go on, Eric.
Whether you'll be CS of Kenya or Igembe.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. If I may respond to Honorable Lisuda, if you ask out there, people who have worked with me, they know my stand on integrity and honesty. I know it's out there. Kenyans will tell you. And I've responded to the same question to Honorable Murugari Murugara, and Honorable Dawood. When pressed on the question of whether I will allocate them dams,
Excited that you'll be taking water to their region.
no, I said we will follow protocol.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Murithi?
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you something. You said you graduated in the year 2016.
Yes.
Thereafter, you worked between 2016 and 24 on several project positions.
Yes,
right?
sir. Yes.
As an engineer working in those project positions, were you required to be registered with the Engineers Board?
Yes, I am required to be registered with the Engineers Board of Kenya.
Yes. How come you only registered in 2024? So you're working without registration?
First of all, to pronounce myself, is that registration with the Engineers of Board of Kenya requires, first of all, you undergo training, adequate training. The minimum years is 3 years, and I don't think there's a maximum number of years. And secondly, it also speaks of the priorities you have. It is very key to be registered, but I was multitasking between a master's degree at the University of Nairobi and working.
Those are unnecessary details. The question was very simple.
Yes.
When you are overseeing the projects, were you required to be registered as an engineer? You said yes. Is it a requirement?
It is a requirement to work under a registered engineer.
When you are not registered, you work under registered engineer.
Yes.
It's as simple as that.
Thank you.
So when you answer question very simply, it becomes very easy.
Thank you.
When you over-explain, you can land into difficulties.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Eric.
Yes.
May I ask you a few questions about yourself?
Okay.
Junet, want to ask a question?
Mr. Speaker?
Yes.
Yeah, I went to the mosque also, I delayed. Mr. Speaker, you know, when young people are given jobs,
yes.
this level, high level. I don't know what happens. Immediately after swearing in, they are removed from the register of young people in the public eye. They become older people.
Yes.
Then the agitation continues that we want a young person on the table. I want to believe in this vetting committee today that we are vetting a young person. And he's going to go to, if he's approved, if the committee feels he's fit for the job, he will go there as a young person. Yeah, no, I have come to experience that we have vetted a young person who was given a job, and then when he took up the job, he became an older person. But when we were vetting him, he was a young man or a young lady. I remember very well. So I'm talking out of experience. So I think he will go there with the mindset and the belief of a young person, and the young people also will see one of them in that table as a young person. That's my comment, Mr. Speaker. But the other thing, he is from the one region of the country.
Igembe South.
Yeah, Igembe, yeah, but in a region. I hope there's somebody who I saw in the news saying that now that region is happy. I hope he was not talking about you, that you are going to serve all Kenyans. You're going to serve all Kenyans.
We have dealt with that already. And Eric, when you find favor and you get approved by the committee and you become a CS, you are not a CS because you're a young person. You are a CS because you are a competent Kenyan.
Thank you.
Capable of discharging the responsibility of the office of CS, and you must serve Kenyans of all ages, the young, the middle-aged, the old, the very old, without fear or favor.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes. Yes. And they don't only look at the mountain. Look at the plains, look at the valleys, the asals. Yes, look at the whole country. Because in this country, water is a source of major conflicts between herders and farmers, farmers and farmers, and many people. There are people who do not get the World Health Organization designated quantity of water, leave alone quality, quantity per day. And it's going to be upon you to assist this country for the period you will serve as minister, if you are approved, to ensure all that you have been told here. Mzima Springs, they want water to go to Mombasa. Everywhere people want water. There is something called the Nile Treaty, which is always an elephant in the room for us. 75% of the waters of Lake Victoria come from Kenya. And that water exits through the Nile to Egypt. Yet if you looked at the 1902 Nile Treaty between Egypt, Sudan, and the British, they say the waters of the Nile shall only be used 85% for Egypt, 10% for Sudan, and 5% for evaporation. They didn't even care about the source of the water. The treaty has been amended twice, but is still on the table and causing a rumpus between Ethiopia and Egypt. And Kenya, that feeds the Nile, is also an interested party. So you should also look at that when you get to office.
Chairman.
Yes.
To add on what you have said, the issue of Migingo Island also with Uganda.
Yes. Yes, the waters of the lake. Yes, now, Eric, let me ask you, those were my comments. You just take them and go and see how to live with them.
Thank you, Speaker, sir.
Yes. I've even been to your village. So when you serve people, also go up to every village. Eric, have you ever been mentioned adversely in any investigations on matters of integrity?
No, sir.
No, sir. Good. Do you hold any position in any political party within Kenya?
No, sir.
What is your net worth in terms of personal wealth?
My net worth is that 1 million Kenya shillings.
That 1 million. What is it made of? You've done much better than your age mates.
I come from a region that is engaged in farming.
Yes.
So I've invested in lands and planted crops, tea, if you've been to the region.
Yes.
Coffee, bananas, and other.
Mira.
Definitely.
Yes. Okay, Eric, thank you very much. Yes.
I was asking whether he has a car.
Do you own a car?
No. I have chosen to invest instead of buying a car to start with.
Yes. If you are approved and appointed, and you get into the office, and tomorrow a major contractor in the water sector comes and offers you a car. Will you take it?
No. Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
His MP, Honorable Paul, when he entered Parliament, he as well did not have a car.
But President Uhuru bought him a car and he
Yes, but
accepted it.
you see, if he is appointed as a CS, he will definitely be getting mortgage. I mean,
Order, Dawood.
The Speaker.
There is no member of this committee who has a duty to defend a nominee. We're just asking him questions. They are not meant to trick him in any situation.
The Speaker.
Yes.
Now that the nominee has said he doesn't have a car, and he has never owned one, I wanted to know what is his dream car? Which one are you looking? What's your dream? Which one are you dreaming that one day? Which one?
Eric, don't answer that.
Honorable Speaker, and I
Yes.
will need your protection in future.
Yes, don't answer that.
Did he answer your question?
Yes.
If
No, he
was
didn't.
offered a car by a contractor in the water sector.
He said no. Okay. You are going into a ministry like many others. You know, the service ministries, water, roads, and agriculture, and all this, health, they are infiltrated by mega cartels, literally mafia. And you must, as a young person, resist their approaches to you and fight them out of the ministry so that you run a clean ministry to help Kenyans.
Thank you.
Eric, we are done with you. We have looked at your papers against what we have. We found them okay. There was no memorandum from the public against you. We now release you to go back to your other engagements and wait to hear your fate from this committee at a later stage.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you, honorable members, for the engagement. I appreciate comments from all of you. And also, I would like to thank Kenyans who have been sending me messages of goodwill. And I hope that this committee rules in my favor. Have a good day, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. No. Honorable members, I saw John Paul in the gallery. Honorable members, you'll now break for lunch for 30 minutes. Lunch is also available to the media and everybody else here. 30 minutes, members, then we're back to take 2 more and we close.